What kind of mother looks her own daughter in the eye and says, "You're not welcome at your sister's wedding"? That's what mine did to me after I poured my heart, my time, and thousands of dollars into making my little sister's big day perfect. But here's the shocker. That betrayal was just the start of a secret so wild. It turned my whole world upside down. I'm Lisa Morgan. And this is the story of how I lost my family and found myself. If you've ever been blindsided by family drama, drop a comment below, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into this crazy ride together. I'm Lisa Morgan, 32. A financial consultant in Boston. I'm the one who keeps the chaos in check, the fixer, the planner, the big sister who's got it all together, maybe a little too together. If you ask my mom, growing up, my little sister Rebecca and I were thick as thieves. We'd sneak Oreos from the kitchen at midnight, binge The Office reruns on Netflix, and make pinky promises to always have each other's backs. She was the dreamer, all paintbrushes and starry eyes, while I was the practical one, making sure the bills got paid and the roof didn't cave in. That's just how it was in our family. Someone had to hold it together, and that someone was me. Rebecca's always been the golden child in my mom's eyes. Deborah, that's my mom, never hid her favoritism. Rebecca's artistic flair, her bubbly laugh. Mom ate it up. Me, I was too serious, the one who needed to lighten up. My dad, Thomas, he'd just shrug and stay out of it, choosing peace over picking fights. I didn't mind. Though, helping Rebecca chase her dreams, that was my joy. When she met James Wilson at a South End art gallery 3 years ago, I knew he was the one. He's a tech entrepreneur from a well-off Boston family, but not the flashy type. He got Rebecca, her quirky sketches, her big ideas, and he supported her without stealing her shine. When he proposed after 2 years, I was the first call she made. "Lisa," she squealed through the phone, her voice practically bursting. He proposed. "You're my maid of honor, right? I can't do this without you." "Of course. I'm in." I laughed, already picturing her in a flowing white gown, glowing like a Hollywood star. We're gonna make this wedding epic, and we did. At first, weekends became a blur of coffee shop meetups, scrolling through Pinterest for floral inspo, and texting about color schemes at 2 a.m. My apartment turned into Wedding Central, bridal magazines stacked on the coffee table, fabric swatches spilling out of drawers. I took notes on every detail Rebecca wanted, determined to make her vision real. This was our moment, the kind we'd dreamed about as kids, draping old bedsheets like veils and giggling about our future weddings. But trouble was brewing, and I didn't see it coming. It started at a family dinner, one of those stuffy gatherings at my parents' suburban colonial in Newton. We were supposed to talk wedding budgets. Nothing major. Then Mom walked in, clutching a sleek leather planner I'd never seen before. "I've booked the venue," she announced, not even waiting for the salad to hit the table. The seaside estate on Cape Cod, only date they had left this summer. So I grabbed it. Rebecca's eyes lit up. "Mom, that's amazing." I blinked, caught off guard. Wait, we were still comparing venues. "Mom," Rebecca and I had a list. "Oh, darling," Mom said, patting Rebecca's hand with a smug little smile my way. "The seaside book's up a year in advance. We're lucky I snagged a cancellation. Besides, I've always pictured Rebecca's wedding there. That was the first red flag." Mom wasn't just helping, she was taking over. Within weeks, she went full wedding dictator, swapping my carefully researched vendors for her country club friends' recommendations. The soft lavender and sage color scheme Rebecca and I loved. Suddenly too muted for Mom's taste. I bit my tongue, telling myself it was fine. Rebecca was happy. And that's what mattered. I kept helping where I could, dropping $3,000 on a photographer Rebecca adored, $2,000 on custom gift bags for out-of-town guests, even planning a $10,000 honeymoon to Hawaii, complete with a beachfront villa and a sunset catamaran cruise. I wanted her day to be perfect. Then came Megan, my cousin, the Instagram influencer with a knack for drama and a follower count to match. She had always hovered around our family, desperate to be the center of attention. Now, she was everywhere, in Rebecca's Instagram stories, holding up bridesmaid dress swatches, sipping wine at cake tastings I wasn't invited to. I'd refresh my feed and see her posing like she was on The Bachelor. Captioned, helping my fave cousin plan her big day. Wedding vibes. My stomach twisted. Since when was Megan Rebecca's fave? I mentioned it to my boyfriend, Tyler. One night while doom scrolling on the couch, she's all over Rebecca's posts, I said, showing him a photo of Megan at a floral shop I didn't even know about. Am I crazy? Or is something weird going on? Tyler, always the calm to my storm, shrugged. Maybe she's just got more free time. You've been slammed at work. Lisa, don't read too much into it. Maybe, I muttered. But the knot in my gut said otherwise. The knot tightened when I found an old family photo album buried in a closet, stuffed with Polaroids of me and Rebecca as kids. Tucked inside was a faded note in Aunt Catherine's handwriting, Deborah. Don't let the past destroy your girls. Weird. Right, I brushed it off, figuring it was some old family spat. But deep down, I wondered, what was Mom hiding? That question lingered, but I pushed it aside, focusing on Rebecca. I kept funding her dream wedding, kept texting her ideas, kept believing we were still the unstoppable Morgan sisters. I had no idea how wrong I was, or how fast things were about to spiral into a betrayal I'd never see coming. The warning signs were there, but I ignored them. I told myself it was just wedding stress. You know, the kind that makes everyone a little crazy. Rebecca and I were still a team. Right? Wed spent hours dreaming up her perfect day, pinning bouquets on Pinterest, debating peonies versus roses over iced lattes at our favorite Boston Caf. But as spring rolled in, things started to shift, and not in a good way. Mom's takeover went from annoying to ruthless. She didn't just nudge me out of decisions. She erased me, my vendors, swapped for her country club cronies, my ideas, dismissed as too basic. And Rebecca, she started pulling away, her texts getting shorter, her calls rushed. Mom's got it handled, she'd say. Her voice clipped. Don't worry, Lisa, don't worry. Easier said than done. I was still pouring money into her wedding, $3,000 for the photographer, $2,000 for those fancy gift bags, $10,000 for a Hawaii honeymoon I knew she'd love. I kept telling myself it was for her, for us, for the sisterhood we'd built over 30 years. But every time I opened Instagram, there was Megan, my cousin, the self-proclaimed influencer with a knack for stealing the spotlight. She was everywhere, posing with fabric swatches, clinking champagne flutes at tastings, hashtagging Hatch best cousin ever like Shed replaced me. One post showed her at a floral shop, arms around Rebecca, captioned, planning the wedding of the century with my girl, team bride. My heart sank. Since when was Megan her girl? I tried to brush it off. Maybe Tyler's right, I thought, scrolling through another post of Megan at a venue walkthrough I wasn't invited to. Maybe she just has more time. But the knot in my gut tightened with every ignored text, every vague excuse from Rebecca, busy with wedding stuff. She'd reply when I asked to meet up. Mom's taking care of it, taking care of it. Mom was turning Rebecca's wedding into her personal stage, and I was being written out of the script. Then came the gut punch that changed everything. I was grabbing coffee with a coworker, Natalie, who casually dropped a bomb. So, how was Rebecca's dress shopping yesterday? She asked, stirring her latte. The boutique owner said your sister found the one right away. I froze, my cup halfway to my lips. What dress shopping? Natalie's smile faded. Oh, at Bella Bridal. She said your mom. Sister. and cousin were there, popping champagne, trying on veils. I just assumed you were too. The room spun. Dress shopping. That was our thing. Rebecca and me. Ever since we were kids. Draping old curtains like veils. Giggling about our dream weddings. We'd promised to be there for each other, no matter what, and now, they'd gone without me. No call, no text, no heads up. I mumbled something about a work emergency and bolted to the bathroom, staring at my reflection in the mirror. What the hell is happening? My chest ached like I'd been punched. I called Rebecca that night, keeping my voice steady despite the storm inside. How was dress shopping? I asked, casual but pointed. A pause, too long. Oh, it was super last minute, she said. Her tone rushed. Mom set it up, and Megan was free. So we just went for a quick look. No big deal. No big deal, I echoed, my voice sharper than I meant. Rebecca. We've talked about this since we were kids. I could have made time. You could have asked. Lisa, don't make it a thing. She snapped, then softened. There's tons of other wedding stuff you can do. Okay, but there wasn't. The other stuff never came. Mom planned the bridal shower without my input, though she had no problem asking me to chip in $500 for the venue. Megan took over the bachelorette party. Picking a glitzy Vegas weekend, I knew Rebecca wouldn't love. She's more of a cozy vineyard vibe. When I suggested something closer to her style, Megan shut me down on a group chat I wasn't even supposed to be in. Rebecca's tastes have evolved. Lisa, she typed, with a winking emoji that made my blood boil. Evolved. I'd known Rebecca for 30 years. I knew her better than anyone. Still, I kept going. Like a fool who thought love could fix everything. I finalized the Hawaii honeymoon, first-class flights, a beachfront villa, a private sunset cruise. I spent $10,000 picturing Rebecca's face when I surprised her with it at the rehearsal dinner. I told myself things would go back to normal after the wedding. We'd laugh about Mom's takeover, sip wine in her new apartment, be sisters again. But the distance grew. Our Sunday brunches, a tradition since college, stopped. Rebecca's excuses piled up work's crazy or wedding stuff's overwhelming. When we did talk, it was surface level. Nothing like the deep, soul-bearing chats we used to have. Is everything okay with us? I finally asked one night, my voice barely steady. We were at a rare family dinner, and I'd caught her alone in the kitchen. She wouldn't meet my eyes. It's fine. Lisa, I'm just swamped with wedding plans. Mom's been a lifesaver, handling everything. A lifesaver. That stung. I'd been the one handling things my whole life. For her, for all of us. But I nodded, swallowing the hurt. It's just stress. I told myself, she doesn't mean it. Then came the moment that cracked my world open. I was cleaning out a storage box in my apartment, looking for old photos to make a wedding slideshow for Rebecca. That's when I found it again, that faded note in Aunt Catherine's handwriting, tucked inside the family album. Deborah, don't let the past destroy your girls. The words hit differently this time. I remembered a cryptic Instagram post from Catherine years ago. A throwback photo of her and Mom, captioned Sisters Forever, even through the pain. Pain. What pain? I dug deeper, finding an old email from Catherine to Mom, dated a decade ago. One line stood out. You can't keep blaming Lisa for what happened with the estate. Estate? What estate? My mind raced. Was this about money? A family fight? Why would Mom blame me? I wanted to call Catherine, but something stopped me. Maybe I wasn't ready for the truth. Instead, I texted Rebecca, hoping to reconnect. Hey, found some old pics for your slideshow. Want to grab coffee and plan it? Her reply came hours later. Kurt and Cold Megan's handling the slideshow. Thanks, though, Megan. Again. I stared at my phone. The knot in my gut. Now a full-on storm. Something was wrong. Really wrong. I wasn't just losing my place in the wedding. I was losing my sister. And that note. Those whispers about the past. They were pieces of a puzzle I didn't understand yet. But I would. Because what came next wasn't just a betrayal. It was a bombshell that would blow my family apart. I should have seen it coming. But I didn't. I kept clinging to the hope that Rebecca and I could fix things, that we'd go back to being the unstoppable Morgan sisters, laughing over coffee, planning her dream wedding like nothing had changed. But the signs were screaming at me. Mom's takeover, Megan's Instagram takeover, Rebecca's cold texts. It was all building to something. I just didn't know how brutal it would be. That note I found. Aunt Catherine's cryptic words about the past and some mysterious estate, it nagged at me, but I pushed it down, focusing on keeping things together. I was still funding Rebecca's wedding, $10,000 for that Hawaii honeymoon, $3,000 for the photographer, $2,000 for gift bags. I thought love could outweigh the drama. I was wrong. It started with a text from Rebecca, short and vague, like all her messages lately. Need to talk about the wedding. Come to Mom and Dad's Thursday, 7 p.m. My heart leapt. Maybe this was it. Our chance to clear the air. I spent the next 5 days rehearsing what I'd say, how I'd stay calm, how I'd remind her of our pinky promises as kids. I pictured us hugging it out, laughing about Mom's wedding dictator phase. I even brought a folder of wedding plans, notes, receipts, proof of everything I'd done to make her day perfect. Shall see how much I care, I thought. Driving to my parents' colonial in Newton, the evening air felt heavy. The driveway where we used to play hopscotch now unfamiliar. I checked my reflection in the rearview mirror, straightened my blouse, and took a deep breath. Here goes nothing. The front door swung open before I could knock. Mom stood there, her face unreadable. "We're in the living room," she said, turning without a glance. My stomach twisted. Something was off. Inside. It felt like a scene from a bad movie. Dad sat in his armchair, looking gray and uneasy, avoiding my eyes. Rebecca perched on the couch, head down, fingers twisting in her lap. And there, in my usual spot, sat Megan. Her influencer smirk dialed up to 11. No one offered me a seat. So I stood, clutching my folder like a shield. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice steady despite the pounding in my chest. "Rebecca, I thought we were talking about the wedding. That's why we're here." Mom cut in before Rebecca could speak, her tone sharp, like she was scolding a child. "There's something you need to understand." Lisa. A chill ran through me. The room felt too small, the air too thick. Mom stepped forward, her eyes glinting with something I couldn't place. Triumph, maybe. "We've been discussing things," she said, folding her arms. "And we all agreed. Your involvement in the wedding is a problem." "A problem," I echoed, my gaze snapping to Rebecca. She wouldn't look at me. "Your controlling behavior." Mom went on, ticking off points like she was reading a grocery list. "Your need to make everything about you, the way you've stressed Rebecca out. Throwing your money around, acting like you're the only one who cares." I blinked, stunned. Controlling. Mom. "I've done nothing but support Rebecca. I've paid for half this wedding." "Exactly," Mom snapped, pointing at me, "always waving your money in our faces. Trying to buy control. It's too much. Lisa, you're ruining her special day." The words hit like a freight train. I turned to Rebecca, desperate. "Rebecca, say something. Is this what you think?" She finally looked up, her eyes glassy, her voice barely a whisper. "It's been really stressful. Lisa, when you're involved, there's tension." "Tension," I repeated, my voice cracking. "Rebecca, I've been killing myself to make this perfect for you." Mom stepped between us, her smirk barely hidden. "Rebecca wants a happy wedding. And frankly, your presence makes that impossible." The room tilted. My presence. At the planning. She meant, right. But Mom's next words shattered that hope. "We all agreed," she said, each syllable dripping with satisfaction. "You're not welcome at the wedding. Not as maid of honor, not as a bridesmaid, not as a guest. It's better for everyone." Silence swallowed the room. The antique clock on the mantel ticked, marking the seconds of my world collapsing. Dad shifted in his chair, silent as always. Megan stared at the floor. But I caught the glint of victory in her eyes. And Rebecca, my sister, my best friend for 30 years, sat there, complicit. Her silence louder than any words. I felt like I was drowning. But my voice came out steady, almost cold. "When was this decided?" "Weeks ago," Mom said, smug. "Rebecca asked Megan to be maid of honor. We just needed to make it official." I turned to Megan, who finally met my gaze, her expression daring me to react. "Congratulations," I said flatly. "It's not personal." She lied, her influencer charm paper thin. "Not personal." I almost laughed at the absurdity. Not personal to erase me from my sister's life. "Rebecca." I tried one last time, my voice softer now. "Is this really what you want?" Mom answered for her. "Rebecca wants a drama-free wedding. You've always been too much, too opinionated, too controlling. The venue wasn't good enough. The caterer wasn't up to your standards." "That's not true," I cut in, my composure cracking. "I've supported every decision. Even when you shut me out, I've spent thousands without being asked. See?" Mom pounced, pointing again, throwing your money in our faces. "That's why you can't be there." I looked at Dad, pleading with my eyes. "Say something." He met my gaze for a split second, then looked away, his lifelong habit of avoiding conflict winning out. The truth hit me like a slap. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a planned ambush. Months in the making, I was out, and they'd all agreed. "Good to know," I said, my voice hollow. I turned for the door, my steps mechanical, behind me. Rebecca called my name once, soft and shaky, but no one followed. No one stopped me as I drove home. Boston's streetlights blurred through tears I didn't expect. I pulled over twice, the road too hazy to navigate. My phone buzzed. Texts, calls, probably Mom gloating or Rebecca with half-hearted excuses. I couldn't look. When I got to my apartment, Tyler was there, his face full of hope that crumbled the second he saw me. "What happened?" he asked, pulling me into a hug. The story spilled out in fragments. Between sobs, I couldn't hold back. They ambushed me. I choked. Mom said, "I'm not welcome at the wedding. At all." Rebecca just sat there. "Tyler." She let them erase me. "They can't do this," he said, his voice tight with anger. "You're her sister. You've done nothing but support her, apparently." "That doesn't matter," I whispered. Exhaustion settling in. Mom's been planning this, turning her against me. And Megan, she's loving every second. Tyler held my hand, his warmth the only thing keeping me grounded. "What are you going to do?" I stared out the window at the city lights, feeling broken but strangely clear. "I don't know yet," I admitted, "but I know I deserve better than this." That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, replaying the ambush. Every word, every look. Mom's smirk, Rebecca's silence. Megan's smugness. It was all too deliberate. By 4 a.m., I was at my kitchen table, a cold coffee beside me, listing every dollar ID spent on the wedding. Photographer, $3,000. Gift bags, $2,000. Honeymoon, $10,000. 15 grand. All for a day I was now banned from. The anger built, slow and steady. I opened my laptop and logged into my bank. With calm, deliberate clicks, I transferred the $10,000 honeymoon fund back to my account. Then I canceled the flights, the villa, the sunset cruise. I emailed the photographer, the gift bag vendor, every vendor I'd paid, citing unforeseen circumstances. By 6 a.m., I'd untangled my financial ties to Rebecca's wedding. It felt like cutting a cord, painful but freeing. I turned off my phone, ignoring the flood of notifications. But the storm wasn't over. It was about to get so much worse. 2 days later, my world exploded. I was at work, trying to focus on a client portfolio, when Natalie rushed to my desk, her face pale. "Lisa, you need to see this, now." She shoved her phone in my hand, an Instagram video already playing. It was Mom, standing in what looked like her living room, her voice trembling with fake tears. "My daughter Lisa has betrayed us," she said to the camera. "She stole thousands from Rebecca's wedding fund, sabotaged her special day. We had to protect Rebecca. That's why she's not invited." The video cut to Megan, all crocodile tears, nodding along. "It's heartbreaking," she said, her influencer polish on full display. "Rebecca deserves better." The caption read, "Standing up for my cousin against family betrayal. Hatch justice." For Rebecca, it had 5,000 views and counting. Comments poured in. "What a monster. Poor bride. Who does that to their own sister?" My stomach dropped. Stole. Sabotaged. I'd funded half the wedding. My phone buzzed with texts from coworkers, friends, even distant cousins. "Is this true? What's going on?" "Lisa," I refreshed the post. 7,000 views now. Megan had shared it to her 20,000 followers, and it was spreading like wildfire. My email pinged with a message from a client. "We need to discuss this video before moving forward. My career, my reputation, everything ID built was crumbling." I ran to the bathrooms, splashing cold water on my face, trying to breathe. How did this happen? Then it hit me. Megan's whisper at the ambush. "You sure she doesn't know about the estate?" The note from Catherine, the email about blaming Lisa. This wasn't just about the wedding. There was something bigger, something Mom and Megan were hiding, and now they'd gone nuclear, dragging my name through the mud on social media. I called Tyler, my voice shaking. "They're saying I stole from the wedding. It's all over Instagram. My clients are freaking out." "That's insane," he said. "You've got receipts. Lisa, proof you paid for everything. You need to fight this." "Fight how?" I snapped. Panic rising. "They've turned me into the villain. Everyone believes them. Then show them the truth," he said firmly. "You're not the bad guy here. They are." He was right. This wasn't just a family fight anymore. It was war. I went back to my desk. Ignoring the curious glances from coworkers, I pulled up my bank statements, screenshots of every payment, every email with vendors. I found the note from Catherine, the email about the estate. I didn't know the full story yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going down without a fight. That afternoon, the scandal hit my workplace. Mom showed up at my office, unannounced, storming into the lobby like a soap opera diva. "Where's Lisa?" she shouted, loud enough for everyone to hear. "She needs to answer for what she's done, stealing from her own sister." Security stepped in, but not before half my colleagues heard her. My boss, Mr. Daniels, pulled me aside, his face kind but serious. "Lisa, I know this isn't you," he said, "but this is getting out of hand. Take a few days to sort it out." I nodded, humiliated, my face burning as I left the office, Mom's voice still echoing in my ears. Outside, I saw her in the parking lot, ranting to a bystander, her eyes locking with mine. No remorse, no shame, just cold, calculated fury. And something else, satisfaction. She wanted me broken. But I wasn't broken. Not yet. As I drove home, the pieces started clicking. The note, the estate, Megan's whisper, Mom's lies. This wasn't just about control. It was personal. rooted in something deep and dark from Mom's past. I didn't have all the answers, but I had enough to know I'd been set up, and I was done playing nice. What I didn't know then was that the worst was still to come. A bombshell about Mom's past and Megan's betrayal that would flip everything upside down. But one thing was clear, I wasn't just fighting for my place at the wedding. I was fighting for my life. I was done crying, done waiting for apologies that weren't coming. The ambush at my parents' house. Mom's Instagram video accusing me of stealing. Her screaming fit in my office lobby, it was too much. My career was on the line. My reputation trashed. And my sister. She'd sat silent while they erased me from her wedding. But something shifted that night. Staring at the Boston skyline from my apartment window, I wasn't the villain in this story. They were. And I was ready to fight back. Not with tears, but with truth. The first step was understanding what I was up against. That note from Aunt Catherine. Deborah, don't let the past destroy your girls. And the old email about blaming Lisa for some estate. They weren't random. Neither was Megan's whisper at the ambush. You sure she doesn't know about the estate? I needed answers, and I needed them now. I called Aunt Catherine the next morning, my hands shaking as I dialed. She answered on the first ring, her voice warm but heavy. Lisa, I've been worried sick. She said, Are you okay? Not really. I admitted. Cutting to the chase, Aunt Kath, what's this about an estate, and why's Mom blaming me? A long pause. Then she sighed, like she'd been carrying a weight for years. It's time you knew, she said. Your mom's been holding on to a grudge since we were young. Our mother, your grandmother, left a sizable inheritance, a family estate worth millions. Deborah thought it was hers. But I got it instead. She tried to sabotage my wedding to prove I didn't deserve it. It backfired, and she was banned from my big day. She's never forgiven me, or herself, and now, she's projecting that pain onto you. I sat down hard, my mind reeling, projecting. Why me? You're everything she wasn't. Catherine said simply, independent, successful, strong. She's always been jealous. Lisa, when Rebecca got engaged, it triggered her old wounds. She couldn't stand you shining in her daughter's moment. So she pushed you out. But what's this estate got to do with me? I pressed. Catherine hesitated. Deborah thinks you're after it, or that you'll expose her for what she did back then. She's paranoid. Lisa, and Megan's been feeding that fear. Megan? My stomach twisted. What's Megan got to do with this? I don't know the details, Catherine said. But she's been cozying up to your mom. Stirring the pot. Be careful. Lisa, she's not as innocent as she seems. The call left me stunned. Mom's betrayal wasn't just about control. It was a decades-old wound, festering and aimed at me and Megan. She wasn't just an opportunist. She was playing a deeper game. I dug through my laptop, pulling up every piece of evidence I had. Bank statements, vendor emails, screenshots of my text to Rebecca that she swore she never got. I found the note from Catherine again. And that email. You can't keep blaming Lisa for what happened with the estate. It was starting to make sense, but I needed more. That's when my phone buzzed with a voicemail from Rebecca. Sent at 3 a.m. Her voice was raw, broken. Lisa, I'm so sorry. She sobbed. Mom's been lying to me. About you. About everything. James and I found out what she did with the honeymoon. Please call me. I need my sister back. I stared at the screen, my thumb hovering over the call button. Part of me wanted to run to her, to hug her and pretend the last few months never happened. But another part, the part that was still bleeding from her silence, wasn't ready to trust. I played the message again, then noticed a missed call from James. Her fiancé? I called him back, keeping my voice neutral. Lisa. Thank God, he said, sounding exhausted. It's a mess. Rebecca's been crying nonstop. We found out what your mom's been doing. What do you mean? I asked, my heart pounding. The lies, he said. Fake texts, fake cancellations. Your mom made Rebecca think you didn't care about the wedding. She showed her messages, from your number, saying you thought the plans were tacky, that you were too busy with work to help. Rebecca believed her. I gripped the phone tighter. I never sent those texts. We know, James said, his voice hardening. Your mom created a fake contact in Rebecca's phone. Your name. But her number. When Rebecca texted you, it went to Deborah, who replied pretending to be you. She deleted your real messages. 2. Rebecca never saw half the stuff you sent. My head spun. Fake texts. This wasn't just manipulation. It was calculated. Almost psychotic. How'd you figure it out? The honeymoon, James said. When you canceled it, Rebecca got the notification. She was confused. She didn't even know about the Hawaii trip. Your mom claimed you'd promised it, then backed out to spite her. But that didn't add up. Why would you spend $10,000 if you were as bitter as she said? They started digging, checking Rebecca's phone, comparing timestamps, pulling up deleted messages. It fell apart fast. James said, We found a folder on your mom's tablet, screenshots of fake conversations she'd created, like a script to keep her lies straight. And that's not all. What else? I asked, dreading the answer. Megan, he said grimly. She's been egging your mom on. We found texts between them. Megan pushing her to protect Rebecca from you. She's the one who posted that Instagram video. Lisa, she knew exactly what she was doing. The pieces clicked, too perfectly. Megan wasn't just riding Mom's coattails. She was steering the ship. I remembered Catherine's warning. The whisper about the estate. James, I said, my voice steady now. There's something about an inheritance, an estate. Megan mentioned it at the ambush. Any chance you saw anything about that? A pause. Yeah, he said slowly. Megan sent your mom an old letter. Looked like it was from Catherine. About some family money. It got your mom riled up, saying you were scheming to take it. I thought it was nonsense, but it fueled her paranoia. That was it, the missing link. Megan had dug up the estate dispute, using it to manipulate Mom's insecurities, convincing her I was the enemy. She wasn't just after my spot as maid of honor. She wanted to fracture our family, to climb over the wreckage and claim the spotlight. I thanked James and hung up, my mind racing. I pulled up Instagram. Mom's video was at 15,000 views now, with Megan's repost racking up comments like, "What a terrible sister," and "Rebecca deserves better." My inbox was flooded with messages, some concerned, some vicious. A client had canceled a meeting, citing concerns about professionalism. My career was hanging by a thread. And I knew Mom wasn't done. Sure enough, she called that afternoon, her voice icy. "You've left me no choice. Lisa," she said, "everyone needs to know the truth about you." "The truth?" I shot back, my anger flaring, like how you faked texts to turn Rebecca against me, or how you lied about me stealing money I spent on her wedding. A beat of silence. Then her tone turned syrupy. "You're upset. Darling, we can fix this. If you apologize, apologize." I laughed. Bitter. For what? Loving my sister. "You're the one who should be begging for forgiveness." She hung up. But not before I heard the venom in her voice. She wasn't backing down. I needed backup. I called my best friend from college, Andrea, a therapist who'd seen me through every crisis. Over lunch at a quiet cafe, I spilled everything: the ambush, the video, the fake texts, the estate. She listened, her face a mix of shock and fury. "This is textbook manipulation," she said, setting down her fork. "Your mom's triangulating, pitting you and Rebecca against each other to keep control. And Megan, she's the enabler, fanning the flames for her own gain. What do I do? I asked, my voice small. Protect yourself. Andrea said firmly, set boundaries, gather evidence, and confront this head on. Rebecca's been manipulated too, but she's still accountable for her silence. You deserve answers, from all of them. Andrea's words lit a fire. I went home and organized my evidence like a lawyer prepping for trial. Bank statements, vendor receipts, screenshots of my real texts, the fake ones James had forwarded. I scanned Catherine's note and the estate email, piecing together the story of Mom's past. But the real bombshell came that evening. When James texted me a screenshot from Megan's phone, one she didn't know he'd seen. It was a message to a friend, sent the day of the ambush Lisa's out. And I'm in. Deborah's so easy to play. One old letter. And she thinks Lisa's after her money. Maid of honor. Here I come. I stared at the screen, my blood boiling. Megan hadn't just stumbled into this. She'd orchestrated it, digging up the estate letter to manipulate Mom's paranoia, knowing it would explode our family. She wasn't just an influencer chasing clout. She was a puppet master. And Mom was her marionette. Rebecca called again, her voice desperate. Lisa, please meet me. She begged. I know I messed up. I need to explain. I hesitated. The hurt was still raw. Her silence at the ambush. Her months of distance, but her voice cracked with something real. Something I hadn't heard in too long. Okay, I said finally. Tomorrow, neutral ground. Just you and James. The next day. I sat in a corner booth at a Boston caf, my evidence folder beside me, my nerves on edge. Rebecca walked in, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her, dark circles under her eyes. James followed, his face tense but kind. Thank you for coming, Rebecca said, sliding into the booth. Her hands trembled as she set her purse down. Lisa, I don't know where to start. I waited, giving her space. This wasn't how I'd imagined our reunion. No hugs, no laughter, just a chasm of pain between us. I believed her, Rebecca said at last, her voice breaking. Mom showed me texts. From you, I thought, saying you hated my wedding, that you were too busy to care. She said you were jealous, trying to control everything. I was so hurt. Lisa, I thought you'd changed. Tears spilled down her cheeks. She pulled out her phone, showing me the fake messages, snarky, dismissive, nothing like me. Mom created a contact with your name, she said. When I texted you, it went to her, she replied. Pretending to be you, she deleted your real messages. I never saw them. I pushed my folder across the table. Look at this, I said, my voice steady but firm, my texts, my payments. Everything I did for your wedding. I never stopped caring. Rebecca. She flipped through the pages, her hands shaking. Oh my God, she whispered. You paid for all this. The honeymoon. The photographer and I believed her lies. James leaned in. That day at your parents' house, he said. Rebecca thought we were meeting to fix things. She had no idea your mom was going to ban you. When it happened, she froze. We both did. By the time she processed it, you were gone. I'm so sorry, Rebecca said, reaching for my hand. I should have spoken up. I was just so confused. I pulled my hand back, not ready to forgive. You sat there. Rebecca, you let them erase me. Why? She looked down, ashamed. Mom kept saying it was for the best, that you were causing drama. And Megan, she was always there, backing her up, making it seem like I was protecting my wedding. I was stupid. Lisa, I see that now. Megan, I said, my voice hard. I slid the screenshot of her text across the table. Read this. Rebecca's eyes widened as she read Megan's gloating message. She planned this, she whispered. She used Mom to push you out. Not just Mom, I said. She found an old letter about the estate. Mom's inheritance fight with Catherine. She used it to make Mom think I was a threat. That's why Mom went nuclear. The video. The office scene. All of it. Rebecca's face crumpled. I trusted them, she said, her voice barely audible. I lost you because of them. James squeezed her shoulder. We're fixing this. Lisa, he said, Rebecca wants you back, as maid of honor, as her sister. But we need to deal with your mom and Megan first. I nodded. My anger softening but not gone. We need a plan. I said, this ends now. All of it. That night. I called Aunt Catherine again, filling her in. We're meeting tomorrow, I told her. Me, Rebecca, James, Dad, you, and a few others. A family intervention. Neutral ground. Mom needs to face the truth. And Megan's going down with her. I'm in, Catherine said, her voice fierce. It's time to break this cycle. Lisa, for you, for Rebecca, for all of us. As I hung up, I felt a spark of hope, not for reconciliation, not yet, but for justice. The truth was coming, and it would hit like a tidal wave. What I didn't know was how deep the betrayal ran, or how the final revelation would change our family forever. The truth was a loaded gun, and I was ready to pull the trigger. After months of lies, betrayal, and a viral Instagram video that painted me as the family villain, I wasn't just fighting for my place at Rebecca's wedding. I was fighting for my life, my reputation, my career, my self-worth. The evidence was stacked bank statements, fake texts, Aunt Catherine's note about the estate, and that damning screenshot of Megan gloating about her scheme. The family intervention was set for a quiet Boston cafe. Neutral ground. Away from Mom's stage, Rebecca, James, Dad, Catherine, our grandmother Martha, and a few trusted cousins would be there. Mom thought it was a wedding budget meeting. She had no idea what was coming. I arrived early, my folder of evidence laid out like a battle plan. My hands shook, but my resolve was iron. This ends today, I thought, sipping a coffee that had gone cold. Rebecca and James walked in first, her eyes red but determined. We're with you, she whispered, squeezing my hand. I nodded, still guarded but grateful. Catherine came next, her presence steady, followed by Dad, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Martha and the cousins filed in, their faces a mix of concern and confusion. Then Mom arrived, her confident stride faltering when she saw the group and the papers on the table. What is this? She demanded, her eyes darting between us. A chance for truth, I said, my voice calm but firm. I started slow, methodical, laying out the evidence like a prosecutor. Bank statements showing my $15,000 in wedding payments, photographer, gift bags, the Hawaii honeymoon. I'd canceled after the ambush. Screenshots of my real texts to Rebecca, full of love and ideas, next to the fake ones Mom had crafted to make me look cold and jealous. Catherine's note about the estate, revealing Mom's decades-old grudge. And finally, the Instagram video, now at 20,000 views, accusing me of theft and sabotage. These are lies, I said, pointing to the video still playing on my tablet. You turned me into a monster. Mom, you faked texts, deleted my messages, and dragged my name through the mud, all to control Rebecca's wedding. Mom's face tightened, her voice sharp. You're twisting this. Lisa, you've always been difficult. Making everything about you difficult. Rebecca cut in, standing up, her voice trembling but fierce. Lisa's been nothing but supportive. You lied to me. Mom made me think she hated my wedding. You broke us apart. The room went still. Dad shifted, his face gray. Catherine leaned forward. Deborah, it's not just Lisa, she said. You did this to me, too. With the estate. You tried to ruin my wedding because you felt cheated. You're repeating the same pattern. Mom's eyes flashed. This is a conspiracy. You're all against me. That's when I played my ace, Megan's text. Projected on my tablet for everyone to see Lisa's out. And I'm in. Deborah's so easy to play. One old letter. And she thinks Lisa's after her money. Maid of honor. Here I come. A gasp rippled through the room. Mom's face paled. Where did you get that? She whispered. From Megan's phone. James said, his voice hard. She's been manipulating you. Deborah, she dug up that estate letter, fed your paranoia, and pushed you to attack Lisa. She wanted her out, and you played right into it. Mom sank into her chair, her defiance cracking. Megan, who'd slipped in late, tried to bolt, but Catherine blocked the door. Not so fast. She said, You've got some explaining to do. It's not what it looks like. Megan stammered, her influencer polish gone. I was just trying to help Rebecca. Help, I snapped, holding up the text. You used Mom's pain to fracture our family. You wanted the spotlight. And you didn't care who got hurt. The evidence was undeniable. Megan's excuses crumbled. Her face flushed as the cousins stared. Horrified. Martha, usually soft-spoken, spoke up. You should be ashamed, she said to Megan. And you, Deborah, how could you let this happen to your own daughter? Mom's eyes filled with tears. But they weren't the fake ones from her video. I didn't mean for this, she said, her voice small. I couldn't lose Rebecca. Not like I lost everything else. Lost what? I pressed. Softer now. The estate. That was decades ago. Mom, why take it out on me? She looked away, her hands trembling. I've been seeing a therapist, she admitted, almost a whisper. She says I feel threatened by you. Lisa, your success, your strength. It reminds me of what I never had. It wasn't an apology, but it was a crack in her armor, a glimpse of the broken woman behind the manipulation. For the first time, I saw her not as a villain, but as someone trapped by her own pain. Dad finally spoke, his voice hoarse. I knew some of this, he said, looking at me with guilt. Not all of it, but enough. I stayed quiet to keep the peace. I failed you. Lisa, I'm sorry. The room held its breath. Rebecca reached for my hand again, and this time, I let her hold it. Lisa's my maid of honor, she said. Facing Mom. Always was, always will be, if you can't respect that. You're out of the wedding, not her. Mom flinched, but Dad nodded. Enough. Deborah, he said. Stronger than he'd ever heard him. This stops now. The intervention didn't end with hugs and harmony. Mom left, her face a storm of anger and shame. Promising consequences. Megan slunk out, her influencer empire crumbling as cousins unfollowed her on Instagram. But something had shifted. The lies were exposed. The cycle named. We weren't healed, but we were moving toward truth. The week before Rebecca's wedding, we set new rules. Mom could attend, but her role was limited. No vendor calls, no unilateral decisions, no drama. To my surprise, she agreed, though her tight-lipped politeness screamed resentment. Dad stepped up, supporting Rebecca's choice to reinstate me as maid of honor. I should have done this years ago, he told me one night, his voice thick. I'm proud of you. Lisa, Rebecca and I rebuilt our bond, brick by brick, over coffee. We grieved the months we'd lost, the lies that had torn us apart. I keep thinking what could have happened if James hadn't found those texts, she said, her eyes wet. Let's not, I said, squeezing her hand. We're here now, stronger. The wedding day dawned bright at the seaside estate on Cape Cod, the ocean sparkling like it knew the stakes. I helped Rebecca into her gown. A moment Wed dreamed of since we were kids. We're back. Aren't we? She whispered, her reflection glowing in the mirror. Better than ever, I said, adjusting her veil. My throat tight. I stood beside her as she said her vows, holding her bouquet, my heart full despite the scars. Mom sat in the front row, her composure perfect, but her eyes met mine with something new, not warmth, but a flicker of acknowledgement. Megan was there, relegated to a back row, her Instagram silent after her followers turned on her. At the reception, I gave Rebecca a gift, a scaled-back honeymoon to Martha's Vineyard, a cozy getaway instead of the lavish Hawaii trip. This is from love. I told her. No strings, no expectations. Her hug said everything words couldn't. That wedding wasn't just Rebecca's. It was my turning point. I learned my worth isn't tied to what I give or how much I fix. It's in who I am, and no one gets to take that away. Therapy helped me set boundaries, not just with Mom, but in every part of my life. Mom's progress is slow, her old habits creeping back. But she's trying, and that's something. Dad found his voice, diving into hobbies he'd shelved for years. Rebecca and I were unbreakable now. Our Sunday brunches back and better than ever. 6 months later, Tyler proposed on a hike in the Berkshires, the sunset painting the sky gold. Yes, I said, laughing. But one condition, our wedding small, no drama, just us. He grinned. Deal. If you're facing family betrayal or fighting for your worth, know this: the truth can hurt, but it also sets you free. Boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations for love that lasts. Share your story below. Have you ever had to stand up to family lies? Let's lift each other up. Like, subscribe, and keep this conversation going. Thanks for being here. Your story matters. 2.